Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's Party.
One blue crushed velvet suit.
Hey, all right.
One frilly lace cravat.
There it is.
One silver medallion with male symbol. One pair of Italian boots.
Buongiorno, boys.
One vinyl record album, Burt Bacharach plays his hits.
Hey, bro. Yeah.
One Swedish-made penis enlarger pump.
That's not mine.
One credit card receipt for Swedish-made penis enlarger, signed by Austin Powers.
I'm telling you, baby, that's not mine.
One warranty card for Swedish-made penis enlarger pump, filled out by Austin Powers.
I don't even know what this is. This sort of thing ain't my bag, baby.
One book, Swedish-made penis enlarger pumps and me. This sort of thing is my bag, baby, by Austin Powers.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And Christmas is over.
Womp, womp.
Later, Christmas.
How was everybody's Christmas?
It was fine. Didn't do much, you know. Watched television.
Yeah, our whole family got sick. It was bonkers. And
Bizarro.
so we just hung out with Carol and Phil, my mom's husband, and just like hung out. It was super quiet, but we had a good time, I thought.
Sure.
We made the Sweetie best of it.
Cozy, quiet Christmas.
Cozy, quiet Christmas.
But now that's done with. Moving on. Sweetie has had Sweetie with an IE has had a hankering to watch this movie.
Hankering?
For a little while. I don't know how long. I don't know exactly how long.
It's been on the list forever, though.
It's been on the
I
list
checked
forever,
the list the
but-
ongoing list we have,
And I
we put it
fear
on a while
that
ago.
it's one of those movies that is going to be like not that interesting to talk about
Agreed.
because it's like so funny and it's just like, here's another funny part. Here's another funny part. Oh wait, I forgot about this funny part.
Yeah, totally.
So,
but
we'll see.
But we'll make it. I think it'll make it like a nice, quick and dirty episode. So sometimes
Whoa.
our episodes when we really get into it and we start talking all like smartsy stuff, it like these creep to over an hour, and it's like, sweeties, like calm down.
What? People love it.
I know. Do you? I hope so.
They do.
So sometimes nice little quickies are good. Just a little jaunt down the street to go pick up some milk. I'll put on Large Marge Santa's. Blah blah.
Okay. What? How far away is this milk store?
Well, you live
know.
on
That'd be
Cape
like
Cod.
a 5-minute episode.
What?
No.
What?
It'll be fine. So today we covered or watched
Austin Powers.
International Man of Mystery is the full title.
Oh wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, just so you know, that's it. 1997, I was in 5th grade, most probably, or summer going into 6th grade. This was a cultural revolution, if you will. This movie just really, I don't know, it had like a breakout. It was just like, it came at the right time or something, and it was in the peak Mike Myers.
Yep.
Little boys were quoting "Yeah, baby" for maybe 20 years. I don't know if it's
Totally.
even stopped yet.
It was like the next, like, I don't know. Remember when we were little and like when Simpsons was really
Yes.
big and everyone was like, "Don't have a cow, man,"
Yeah.
and like doing all that Bart Simpson shit. And like I never watched The Simpsons, but I still like knew what
The
it was.
what? Who are the Symptons?
The Simpsons. I never watched The Simpsons. I still knew what it was, but like remember how much that took over.
Yes, it's annoying.
And I feel like Austin Powers is quite similar.
Yes, and it was always, and we've talked about this a little bit with Wayne's World. Like the cool kids, the not cool kids and not funny kids would quote the most obvious
Obvious
things,
lines.
like "Yeah, baby," or like whatever the Dr. Evil one is. But the cool kids,
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
the cool actual funny kids would quote like the lesser used quotes,
Right.
like we did, not
my
to
God.
toot our own horns.
We totally did. And I will
but we
say
did.
this. I agree with you like 1,000% also because I was in either 8th grade or in high school for this movie. And like the guys in the couple grades above me had like quoted this movie nonstop. And I really judged like which ones were like hot by like which Austin Powers quotes they were quoting. I remember. I remember this like specific
But
group
what
of
if-
like popular guys always did like these certain lines. And I was like, they're cool.
But what if
They're
a hot guy said a stupid one? Would you not think he was hot anymore? I'm confused.
No, but that like never happened.
Okay.
I feel like it was the nerds, as you were just
Yeah.
saying, who really wanted to be cool and be like, "Oh
no,
my god, this
not
movie's
even
so
the
funny."
nerds, like the guys that thought they were hilarious
Yeah.
shit, but weren't. They could be hot. They could be hot asshole, dude guys.
They're probably hot now.
But I feel like we had a very like niche love for this movie. And not that, I mean, that's a weird thing to say, but like we liked the like lesser used quotes, the lesser used parts. Was kind of our bag baby. But yeah, this was quite a thing though. And 2 sequels. Wait, 3? No, 2. Spy Who Shagged Me, and then Goldmember. So it just kept going, and it again peaked Mike Myers. Got
As,
to use
like-
like all of his favorite characters.
Yeah, it's interesting that like what happened with Mike Myers because obviously he had like the Wayne's World, which was huge, a precursor to this, and like I would say equally as big. I prefer it over this series myself, and that like really launched him. But he really didn't want to do a Wayne's World 3. So brilliant guy of the days created like a whole new character. It was basically was able to do that again, even more so, and then had 3 movies total. I mean, that's insane. And then he was done with that. He was like, well, maybe I'll do Shrek now.
Yeah, and then
Shrek
was
then
a
he
whole
died.
thing.
I mean, he didn't really.
Oh my god,
Mike Myers is
He's
still
not-
alive,
he's
people.
not dead. Oh my god.
But then really his career has taken
I think
like
he
a
just
slow
didn't.
down.
He couldn't find another character as big as these,
Which
these
I like
guys.
totally think is great. Like I'm glad almost he didn't because it's like,
it would
dude,
be-
like
yeah,
stop
It
working.
would be too much, maybe. I mean, it's like Jim Carrey too, right?
Yeah.
Like Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, like his 2 big characters. I don't know if you can like.
Well, didn't Mike Myers he tried to keep going with this
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like there was
The
Love
Love
Guru.
Guru.
There might have been something else. There was the movie where he's like on the airplane.
Yeah, but
thing.
those weren't so much character. I don't know. Like these feel different. Austin Powers,
and now
Wayne.
he's just doing like fun cameos that like kind of tie in everything almost. Like if you saw Bohemian Rhapsody, he like used his basically Austin Powers accent or fat bastard accent to do like the record producer who basically like lets Queen go because Bohemian Rhapsody is too long and he doesn't think anyone will play that on the radio if you haven't seen that yet. And it's like a fun little cameo for him and you're like, oh my god, Mike Myers, like sweet. But yes, guys, this is like the peak Mike Myers movie, I would say. And definitely like, I mean, they don't give Oscars for comedies that often. I'm telling you. I would have nominated
should.
Mike Myers. It
Maybe
was an
they do.
amazing performance.
Yeah. It's just there's just so much going on in his look. It's really like the physical comedy I think is probably stronger than the actual comedy, but just like something in like his awkward like his like looks where he thinks he's being super hot and attractive, like that is just so on point and perfect.
I could watch him dance in his underwear
Oh my God.
literally on a loop all day
It's
and never
so
not think it's funny. It
much.
is so
But he also
funny.
brings like a certain like empathy to this character and like a sweetness where he's like he's catching up on all the history in the last 30 years and he has like that like amazed look. I don't know. I just thought it was really good.
It was really good. And like like I feel like in Wayne's World there were like bits of physical comedy in that for Wayne to do and stuff like that, but it's so much more on exhibit here what with like he's kind of obviously in like really random getup, the bad teeth, the glasses, the wig, all like modeled after Stephen Hawking. Cool.
It's so funny because when I saw like the theory of everything, I thought
my
that like the whole time I was like, he seems like Austin Powers.
But-
now I get it.
Yeah, and the dancing too. So I guess like Mike Myers' wife, like, he'd always come home and like dancing naked and stuff. She's like, you got to put that in one of your movies.
Well, he does it.
So they made like the whole first section, which is brilliant. Like the whole opening credits are like one of my favorite things to watch.
And he like kind of like, you see elements of it in Wayne's World, like when he's like in his underwear and he's like, "Happy birthday."
There's a lot of,
Mr.
there's a lot of
President.
stuff that he carries over for sure. If you're like a huge Mike Myers fan, he basically has like two characters, and it's Wayne and Austin Powers.
And Fat Bastard.
Yeah, and Fat Bastard.
But still, we love him. We love him. But man,
yeah. So like huge movie, and I did not see it in the movie theater. I remember this distinctly because I was a little too young, and I think I also think it was something that like wasn't as big until it was like, you know, like people, it just suddenly it came out and only like a couple people saw it, and they were like, oh,
because everyone that would find it like the most funny was probably too young to see it, or not the most funny, but who would like take it off and run with it, maybe.
And then I remember by the time the sequel came out, we were like counting down the days, seeing that in the movie theater, and then the gold member one with Beyonce. I mean, forget it. That was like, and I gotta say, I mean, we probably won't do the sequels. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows, guys?
I don't even know if I've seen all of Goldmember.
Okay. They're really funny. I mean, the second one is fucking
good.
Hilarious.
And same thing with Wayne's World too, where like I was watching this one and I was like, oh, where's the part with this? Where's this? And I was like, is Minnie Me in this? And she was like, no, it's the second one. I was like, what?
I agree. There's some great parts in this one, but I feel like some of like the really, really good jokes that I
wrote down a quote that's not even in this movie, and now I'm mad I have to cross it out.
Are in the second
stick.
one. So so that's the one where he like you know, they don't want to do the fish out of water thing, so they have him go back to like his actual time period, right, in the other sequels, the 60s and then the 70s, right? And then and it's just like, I don't know why that one is so funny. It's just it's amazing, and it has Mini Me.
Yeah, and
like,
I mean, I can't believe he's not in the first one. I was like, what? Heather Graham though, it's like,
oh god,
you know,
she was bad.
Could have been something.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough about that. I guess we should just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a pretty sweet, short synopsis. But
you think so? No, just kidding.
It's time for the sweet synopsis.
Yeah, sweeties.
Judo chop.
Austin Danger Powers is an international man of mystery. He is a, I guess, secret agent for the...
Does he work for MI5 or MI6?
It doesn't say. I mean, they had their own thing. It was like British Intelligence Agency or something.
Well, it's like all false anyway.
Right. But he's like the top agent currently in the 1960s, and with his partner, Mrs. Kensington, are like, you know, they're the it team. It's like a happening thing.
He's James Bond.
He's James Bond, but you know, women chase after him. He's got this whole thing. So his nemesis is Dr. Evil, whose overall goal is to take over the world or whatever, you know, whatever those bad guys always want to do. I'm never clear on their end game. Like, if your end game is to blow up the world, like, where are you going to go? Do you think it's going to be like fun after you blow up all the top cities in the world? Like, what's the game? What's the end game? But anyways, he has a long-standing rivalry. Austin Powers tries to get him, but Dr. Evil cryogenically freezes himself and then shoots himself into space in a big boy burger boy like thing.
Which, like, I would never got. Was that like a thing from the 60s, or is that just like a burger chain we don't have here?
I think it's a burger chain we don't have here, because I think there are still some, maybe.
That was one thing I definitely never have gotten. I'm like, what the hell is a big boy?
Sweetie confusion for sure. So fast forward to 30 years later, Dr. Evil's big boy ship is back. I don't know where was it for that time period? It was just like in space.
It was like a restaurant. It was a restaurant.
No. What? No, when Dr. Evil comes back into the atmosphere,
he was cryogenically frozen and floating and orbiting the Earth. I thought you meant like, what was he in that then became a spaceship?
No.
Yeah,
so
it's
he
like orbiting the
appears
Earth.
back, and then they make the call to the government. They're like, okay, we have to unfreeze Austin Powers. So they actually cryogenically froze Austin Powers as well, so that when Dr. Evil returned, they would have their number one man back, which is like, is he that great? Like, you're not going to find a better person who is up on the technology and stuff? I don't know. But, you know, it's one of those silly, like, it's funny because this movie is like a James Bond spoof, so much of it is so accurate. You're like, why is this the deal? But I love it. So they unfreeze Austin Powers, and he's all like still in his 1960s mindset. So he's very kooky, and he's like, you know, swinging his his whole shtick.
His twig and
yeah,
berries?
baby. Yeah, his twig and berries. He meets his new partner, Ms. Kensington, who is Mrs. Kensington's daughter, played by Elizabeth Hurley. Also was having a 90s moment. Good for her.
Totally 90s moment. If I look at her, all I can think of is that she used to be married to Hugh Grant.
I know.
And they cheated on her with like the transvestite prostitute.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I feel so bad for her because I loved her in this and Bedazzled. What's the other one?
Bedazzled. I love Bedazzled. Yeah.
So good. She's
yeah.
like a feisty little actress. I like her. She smiles too much, but it's like, she does a good job.
Classic beauty.
Yeah. Classic British beauty.
Yeah. So Austen's obviously smitten with her because he has this whole like unrequited love thing with her mother, Mrs. Kensington, which I think would be a great prequel. Like the love story that never was. Like dun, dun, Austen and Mrs. Kensington.
Yeah,
Also
but wasn't
kind
it they never really, but there wasn't a love story. She talks about that.
I
They just
know,
liked each other and were
right.
very fond of each other, but she never
I
cheated
think there
on
was
him.
something bigger
No.
there where he
No.
really loved her.
Of course not,
she-
darling. I was married to
Yeah,
your
I
father.
know she didn't cheat on. I'm just saying, like that's what unrequited is, sweetie. Hello,
I don't need to see that sequel.
it's a prequel, but whatever. Also, why doesn't she get a name? I don't know, but
It's Karen.
it's really?
Karen? No, I'll make that up.
That doesn't sound very British.
It's Karen Kensington.
Anyways, so they explained the thing to Austen, like you have to go after Dr. Evil again. He's like, cool, back in my back in my stride. But the world's different now. The 90s is quite a different place than the 60s, and he needs to catch up on a lot of stuff. He's introduced to like good hygiene and like dentistry, just a little history. I don't know. So Dr. Evil's plan now is to abduct this like warhead and then put it in a drill, Project Vulcan, which will drill down into the core of the Earth and then ignite all the volcanoes in the major cities. But I'm like,
got it,
there's
baby.
not that many major cities that have volcanoes.
There's
I'm just
nothing.
like,
There's hardly any. I don't know.
It's true.
It's a dumb plan.
It's a silly plan, but that's the point. It's like all James Bond is like, well, I mean, I think the past James Bond, the newer ones are like, okay, kind of scary and plausible, but maybe I think the old ones,
because the old
it's
ones were
funny.
kind of supposed to be
Right.
like not
Yeah.
spoofy, but like kind of outrageous.
Yeah. So let's see. So they do their whole spy thing. They find stuff out. They get to Las Vegas, where like the what's the company called? I want to say Viacom, but that's not it.
Voltron.
Maybe, yeah. And they like go on a tour. Him and Vanessa, Austin Powers and Vanessa, and they like get up. I'm like, wait, what happened? And then they got they got abducted, and they got put into quasi futuristic garb, and they got like makeovers. And then Dr. Evil wants to kill them, so he ties them up in an elaborate. What does he say? It's like an elaborate, easily escapable situation, which they escape from. And then dismantle the bomb, so the bomb is no longer. And then there's a final standoff with Austen and Dr. Evil. But what happens there?
He gets away somehow.
Back in his big boy, and then off into space again. Dun dun dun.
He escaped.
And he escaped.
And Austin saves the world. He stops the big missile thing before it blew up. And so saves the day. So hooray, Austin. And then throughout this time, him and Vanessa, I guess, are like falling in love. Okay. I like forgot why that happened because like all of a sudden she's like yelling at him about sleeping with the Italian secretary, and I'm like, wait, are you guys dating? Because like the last thing was she like fell asleep drunk. She like tried to kiss him. They went on like one romantic date.
They go on one date where Burt Bacharach plays the hits, and they like dine on Bangers and Mash. I don't know.
Was
where
Bangers and Mash?
It looked like it. It looked like
love,
it. Where did they find
sweet love.
Bangers and Mash in Las Vegas? I don't know.
But patio
after that, Vanessa's like drunk, and she's like, "Let's have sex." And for some reason, Austin, Mr. King of Sexual Harassment, does believe in consent, which is like, whoa, what's happening here? So doesn't have sex with her, and then all of a sudden she's flipping out at him because they can't be in this trusted relationship. And I'm like, what relationship?
I'm like, girl, I was like, pump the brakes. What is wrong with you? I guess this is the 90s.
And then she's
monogamy.
like, welcome to the 90s, Austin, aka the time of exaggerated relationships and halter tops? Question mark. Like it was just like a strange thing that happened. Heels. I don't get it.
That was a jump. But anyway, 3 months later, they get married. La-di-da. And now they're a fun spy power couple, Mr. and Mrs. Powers.
Until the second one where it's revealed she's a fembot. Remember?
Is that what happens?
That's the opening scene.
Oh
is
my
she like blows up.
I forgot about
I'm
that.
like, what happened to the real Vanessa? Has she been a fembot this whole time? I'm very confused.
Good one. Oh, I forgot. I was like, how did they get rid of Vanessa?
yeah.
Because I didn't remember that they got married at the end. But you're right, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid flick.
Solid flick. You know, it's that great comedy time of just like not that long. Like, there's not too many things in this that I'm like, ugh, I hate this scene. There's really
it's a perfect
not.
movie.
It's a perfect length.
It's super short.
I think, all the jokes still hilarious, I think.
Yeah,
Anyways.
almost every scene there's like a pretty like funny stuff in it. And I think it's aged like actually quite well. Like there's the sexual harassment jokes are funny just in the sense cuz it's like you know it's bad, I guess. I don't know, I'm not like bothered by those.
I mean, if I take my glasses off and really look, or put my glasses on, I should say.
If you had never seen this
and
movie
really
and you're
look
seeing
at
it
it,
first
it would
today,
be offensive,
it would be
obviously,
offensive?
because
Okay.
like he is extremely inappropriate. And sure, actually, it's a good sign of the times because it's like people always point to that and say, like, well, there wasn't such a thing as consent in the '60s, which I'm like, no, there was. Like, people just didn't understand it. So it just does make me a little uncomfortable because Vanessa's like obviously uncomfortable by what he's like doing, but at the same time I'm still,
but even
she goes flips around and then they have a relationship, so I don't get
exactly
it.
But even she treats it like, oh, like silly old man, which is what we still we're doing much less now. Like, let's remember that time a couple months ago when it was like found out that George Bush, the president who just died, was like copping feels from his wheelchair when he would like go see plays in Maine and stuff. And like these women came out and were like, oh yeah, he groped me like a bunch of times when he went to like come say like good job in that performance. And people were like, oh, dirty old man, like that one's everyone's reaction there. So that's like basically how it's sort of treated in this one for a little bit. And his excuse being like he was frozen.
Right. So it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect thing for like what people use as defense now, right? It's okay back then. But
it's never okay.
Right,
and she does tell him in a bunch like that.
But then,
But also, and it's also like her family friend, because like her was her mom's partner, right? Which probably makes it even worse. Like, did she know her when she was a baby, or she came after Austin got frozen?
Way after.
Oh,
right?
okay. She's like 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, or 28. I don't know. But yeah, I think the aging well thing is accurate. There are some things where he's going back to teach himself about the current world, and so he has like the Reebok pumps or whatever with like the thing in the middle that you pumped up. Like if kids watch that today, they'd be like, I don't know what that is. Like that may as well be the '60s also, because I don't know what that is.
Right, totally. And I thought there's a couple things like that. Which we talk about this when we did Wayne's World too. Like, would that still be funny if you like didn't know those kind of cultural references like that they're talking about?
We didn't talk about that.
I thought we did.
Yeah.
But now I can't remember like which ones
We
in
did.
Wayne's World. But a couple in this one are like, which is one of my favorite scenes, the Macarena scene. Oh my god, I like lost my shit. It was so funny. I'm gonna go over that in my favorite lines. Kids are gonna be like, "What is that guy doing?"
Yeah.
And then the part, with like the random Beavis and Butthead part when like he's switching the channel to he's like, doing the ransom call for the UN or whatever, and then he like changes the channel onto Beavis and Butthead. Right, our kid's gonna be like, "What is that? Like, why is that
What
funny?"
is television? Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question. But I mean, it's the '90s. It's not like they're saying this is present day, right? I mean, they make a point of saying like 1997 when that happened. So maybe it would be okay.
But it's like I feel like it's I like that stuff now because it's almost like I have a ticket like from like the 1990s, and like if I watch this with people who like aren't born or saw the movie then, they don't get it. So I feel like really special and cool.
Cool, good for you.
So I have the 90s ticket.
Good for
I
you
got
and your
a
father.
90s
I thought you meant you had like.
ticket.
I thought you meant you had your '90s movie ticket of Austin Powers, and I was like, I thought you said you didn't see it in the theater.
In the theater.
I know.
No, I just feel like now I feel like we're the cool kids in school. Like there might be all those kids with all their cool new movies and stuff, but guess what, kids? You might watch Austin Powers and not get it.
Let's hope so. All right, so I think we should move into favorite scenes. I don't think we don't need to go in order, so we'll just start with favorites and then go from there. So my favorite is the group therapy scene with Dr. Evil and Scott. So Frau Farbissina, who's like Dr. Evil's like actual number one person, I think. There's number 2 and then there's number 1. Is Frau number 1?
She's number 3, actually.
What? Who's number 1?
Forget who. I know. I just read that in the trivia, like around the table.
There's no one else.
Yeah,
What
there
do
is
you
no
mean
number
around
one.
the table. No, I mean like, you know, people say like you're my number one guy, you're my number two, you're my right hand man kind of thing. I think that's
There
what
is
that
no
means.
number one.
I think it's Frau. I think it's Frau.
What?
She's in all of them, and you find out that she was the person that gave birth to Scott. So like, it's obviously he's his number one. But anyways, when Dr. Powers is frozen, she develops
Dr.
Powers.
He didn't go to evil medical school.
You can't have that. You're right. They did go to the same school, though, according to is that the third one? Oh, yeah. That's funny. She makes a son, so Scott Evil is Dr. Evil's son, is like a test tube baby, but not because if she was the carrier, then wait, what is a test tube baby?
Don't they learn like eventually in some of the other ones it's not conceived that way, that they did do it naturally because there's sex scene.
That's it. Okay,
so let's get it on.
Wait, to backtrack though, but like, so when you know how test tube babies were like a thing in the 90s, like that was the thing. Very confusing for me in my head still today. I'm like, what is a test tube baby? Please tell me.
So they have the egg, and then they like basically in the test tube, and then they shoot the sperm in there, and the sperm like mixes all
baby
around.
grows in the test tube?
No, it gets fertilized in the test tube.
But then they put it back in the
Yes.
woman? What?
They it has to grow somewhere. This isn't.
Well, I know. That's why in my head I was like, wait, what? Okay.
2030. Right. I'm 2230.
That's a long time. That's a random. That's a random year.
We're gonna have babies growing outside the womb. I don't think
2230 is 20 years.
No, I just said
now?
it's not 2030, and then I was like, wait a minute, 2030 is like in tomorrow. 2030 is not that far away. That's scary.
It's pretty scary. So this scene is they do like a thing where they're not getting along, and they go to this group therapy for fathers and sons. So it's like all the other guys are having normal issues, daddy issues, whatever. Carrie Fisher is the person running this group, and they go through, and she's like, "Tell us about yourself, Dr. Evil." So he like gets up,
Dr. Evil.
He like gets up and does this whole monologue about his life, and there's just, I mean, all of it's very funny, but my two favorite things ever were when he's like, "My father would make outrageous claims, like he invented the question mark and accused chestnuts of being lazy," is like my favorite thing that has ever happened. I just like to imagine it in my head and laugh. Also, I had a flip calendar, like every day you flip the thing. I think maybe you got it for me or something.
Of Austin Powers?
Austin Power
Oh my
quotes.
God.
And I saved the one that was like, and he accused chestnuts of being lazy. I just think it's so funny.
It's one of the best monologues I've ever heard
It really
in my whole
is.
life.
It's just such a funny
so
scene,
funny.
and everybody's like, "What the fuck is happening?" And it's comedic gold, and that's my number one scene.
So, question for you about that:
Yeah.
Do you know what buggery is?
Like fucking
What kind? It's a specific kind.
in the butt.
Yes.
Oh.
Good one. I had to look that up again. I forgot. I knew it, and then I
thought it was
forgot.
just, like, all
and then I
sex.
looked it. No, so it's butt sex.
What is that in context? What is that line?
My father, he would womanize. He would dine. He had a propensity for buggery.
Oh,
I think it's that when he's describing his father in the beginning. That's out of order, but something.
like gay sex or regular, or
I don't
like
know.
sex with women in the butt.
You
I don't
asked Mr. Evil. I don't know.
Okay. Well, to be continued.
Good scene.
Yeah, good scene.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, one of my favorite ones that basically always comes up to mind, and I'll tell you for a couple reasons, is the acclimating.
What? Acclimating.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, a climate change? What's happening?
Sometimes I just cannot speak. I literally could.
Some words are tricky. Some words
And
are
it's like
hard.
written in my notes, and I'm like, "What is this word?"
Cherokee. Backstory on that.
my
We
God.
were watching Jeopardy, and Sweetie was reading a question out loud, and it was like, "This Cherokee. What's a Cherokee tribe?" I was like, Cherokee, Sweetie.
It's like, do I know how to read sometimes? You guys, I'm a really smart person, and that even happens to me. So I just want to tell you, don't be afraid to be dumb. Okay. I love the scene where he's like, gets yelled at by Vanessa, so he has to try to figure out what he's missed. You know, he's been sleeping cryogenically frozen for 30 years, so he's got to catch up. So he writes down this list of people, and it says people that I know, and a line underneath. And this is probably the scene that Andre and I, Sweetie here, do the most. always, if I'm making a ham sandwich, which you guys, I've been eating a ton of ham sandwiches the last like 6
I
months.
had one today.
Oh my God, I was saying it when I was making it for you. It was nuts. Anyway, so it says people I know. So then he has 4 people written down. They're all musicians. And he goes, Jimi Hendrix, deceased, drugs. Janis Joplin, deceased, alcohol.
Which is false.
False. You guys, I watched the Janis Joplin documentary. She died of a heroin overdose. She hadn't done heroin for like ever, and then she was super sad one night, and she just did like a tiny little bit. And that's what happens when you're
not used to it.
You're not used to it. It usually kills you. And then it goes back to the movie. It goes Mama Cass, ham sandwich, which I think is also inaccurate because I think she threw up, like she was like drugged
I thought
out.
it was just that like she was fat.
Oh, I thought it like she actually choked on her own vomit or something.
Oh, from being. Usually that happens when you're on drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, that's why I think it really was, but we should look that up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the part where he goes, ham sandwich. Anytime making a ham sandwich, man. Love it.
I've even used it. I've been making these like those Linzer cookies with the jam in the middle. And I was making a whole batch of them and like spreading the jam on each one. Every time I would be like, jam sandwich. All right, Mama Cass. La la la. All right. You died.
All the leaves are brown.
Collapsed in the Burbank television studio immediately before she was treated. She just collapsed.
Oh, okay.
I think
So
she had
maybe
a
it
heart
was.
attack or something.
So maybe it was
because she was fat. Yeah.
Okay, so it is a fat joke. Wow, I totally started a rumor that she choked on her own vomit, which was a ham sandwich.
I thought you meant like she choked on a ham sandwich or like a
That's
ham
what I
bone.
thought it was.
Oh man.
See,
yeah.
sometimes you just like make stuff up.
Sweetie confusion. It's
to
our
make it
life.
happen.
We've made a whole podcast around
But yeah,
it. pretty
I love
much.
that scene. And then additionally in that scene, there's like he's like, he tries to play a CD in the little mini record player. That's pretty funny. It's like, "Kee!" And then he has the Air Jordans and he starts pumping them and he's like, yeah, like, and it goes like nuts and he like explodes in his face and the powder just like shoots like right into his eyeball. He has glasses on, but still, that was funny. And I think we verified that was not a thing, right?
Oh, I couldn't find any. I didn't really
Why is
dig
there
deep
baby
into that.
powder in Air Jordans?
I don't know. Something with the science of how it like tightens. I don't know.
Seems like a hot mess.
Yeah, unclear. But yeah, good scene, good scene. So then another favorite is the Swedish made penis enlarger. When Austin gets out.
I'd say the whole unfreezing process.
Yeah, the whole unfreezing process really is gold. He like has to go through all these phases, and it's like, you know, they're spoofing the like James Bond, the cool female voice they always use to like use in those tech things. And she's like, warm liquid goo phase initiated, and it's like all this random shit. And then they're like, evacuation starting now, and it's just him peeing. And our dad loved
Oh my God,
that joke.
I was gonna bring that up.
Dad
What
loved
is
all the like long
jokes
peeing
that
jokes.
yeah.
Because
Oh
it was
my
like a guy thing.
it
Like
was a guy
guys could
thing.
pee forever. So he also loved the one in A League of Their Own. When you remember from our podcast
I just like
on
couldn't-
that.
when we watched that scene today, I could like literally hear Dad laughing.
Yeah,
at it. It
me
was
too.
so funny.
But yeah, and the joke with that is that like the cool female voice thinks he's done, so she's like, evacuation, come, and then he keeps peeing, come. It's just like, you know, that's the gag. So then he's picking up all his stuff that he like checked in when he was going in there. I don't know why he had some of this stuff on him, or maybe it was just things he thought were most important. They were like, what are your most important things
Like a
you
time
want to keep
capsule.
with you? Yeah. So the guy like checks it out for him and like does a thing like, okay, here are all the things. So it's like his crushed velvet suit, his lace cravat, his
boots?
the boots, the male
Man
symbol necklace. And then it's like one Swedish made penis enlarger. And he's like, that's not mine. Oh, pump. He's like, that's not mine. And he's just like all embarrassed about it because Vanessa's right there. And he's like, it's not mine, I swear. And he just keeps taking out more and more evidence that's like, this is Austin Powers. There's like a warranty card, a credit card slip. And then the final like cherry on top is Austin Powers is like, it's this kind of thing's not my bag, baby. And then the guy pulls out a book. He's like, one book. This sort of thing, Swedish made penis enlargers. This sort of thing is my bag, baby, by Austin Powers. And it's just, it's so good. And people loved that, like that scene. And I mean, slight I mean, not really sweetie confusion, but I think it was like, I was like, well, what is a penis enlarger? Like, obviously I know it enlarges penis, but I didn't think it was a real thing. Turns out it is. And,
I was just on the internet for a good 10 minutes looking at them.
oh my God.
They're a real deal, guys. First of all, you have to measure your penis. And then if you don't know how, it takes you to a step-by-step instruction on how to do that. So now I know how to do that.
What?
That's handy.
What, is it complicated? I'm confused.
Yes, it is.
Why?
Well, it has to be an erect penis.
Duh.
And you have to put it from like, you know, the where you're like connects to your body to the
Scrotum?
end.
Okay.
No, to the end. And then you do the girth. And so you have to get like, it says a bunch of times on the website, make sure you get the right size. Don't like think in your head, oh, I totally have a 12-inch penis, because it has to fit exactly right, because it's about the vacuum. It's got to like be tight in there, and then so it can't be too large or too small.
So isn't it just like, it doesn't like enlarge it, but it's like when you,
I guess it
like
said
swells
it's
it.
for erectile dysfunctions.
Isn't it just like swelling it?
Yeah.
Make it,
well, if you
making it
can't
big?
get a hard on, I think that like helps out with it.
Creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy.
It's a creepy
So
thing.
the cheapest one was like $110, guys,
Wow.
for the 5-inchers for the little guys, and then for the big one, it was like
Why do you need to make it
It was $399. First of all, it was just like this whole kit, and then it said that only. So this was for the 12 inches and up. So 12 inches erect. So that'd be pretty big.
You're fine if you have the 12-inch.
But what if you can't get hard?
Oh.
So it said there's only 0.1 or 0.01% of the population has that side penis. So they're like, you really shouldn't be here. Essentially, was like in the description.
Well, I mean, I think if you have a 12-inch penis flaccid, like, congrats. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's like great. I mean, I don't know.
It was nuts. And that was just one company, guys. The list was long.
I think also,
just like the penises.
scientifically, your penis should not be any bigger than 12 inches. Like, that's just very reckless endangerment for everybody. You, the woman, the man. I don't know. It's just, it's unsafe. But yeah, good scene. Good scene.
Good scene. Why do we always end up talking about penises?
I don't know. It was the joke, the 90s. Penis jokes,
There was a
poop
lot of
jokes.
which
poop
I
fart
appreciate,
jokes.
guys. I appreciate it.
Speaking of poop.
Oh my God. Okay. Love that scene. So, Austin is they go to Vegas. Yeah, they're in Vegas and they go to one of the casinos and stuff. And then he follows, does he follow? Yeah, he follows someone who he thinks is a Dr. Evil henchman into the bathroom.
Who
I
is
think
a Dr. Evil?
It's the Lucky Charm.
No, it's number 2.
Robert. Yeah, it's number 2. So they're like playing poker or blackjack. And I need you to the little boy's room. So he excuses himself and then he follows them. So then he is in the bathrooms and there's like, I love when he walks in and he's like, excuse me, have you seen, and it's a blind guy and he's like, absolutely nothing at all.
Why is that guy what are they called? The
Towel guy. I have to call him the towel guy.
They're called
The
something else.
usher, butler?
I don't know. Yeah, something.
Valet? Restroom attendant?
Attendant.
Restroom attendant. Oh my God, I feel like I'm playing Taboo. So he like goes in and then like Tom Arnold randomly comes in and like cowboy get up.
Also a 90s.
Also,
90s guy.
yeah, big 90s guy. And they both like go to the bathroom. So it's weird because Tom Arnold is like wants to have a conversation on the toilet. And he's like, because he's like, hey, buddy, doing okay in there? Even before like the whole thing starts. And Austin's like, yeah. So then like the guy, so Mr. Two. Number two went in the bathroom and then like disappeared because I guess there's this like fake door in there because the toilet that Austin's sitting on has like this cutout door, and this guy who is the Lucky Charms, I forget what his name is, like some Irish name.
Patty O'Brien.
Yeah, Patty O'Brien. He works for like the
NSA? No.
NRA? No, that's a gun company.
National Rifle Association?
Oh my God, I have no brain cells
I
left
forget.
today.
IRA.
Yeah.
Irish
NRA.
Republican.
So he like works for him. Anyway, so he's like choking him with the thing, and so it sounds like Austin is like really struggling to get out of poop. So there's like all these poop joke that Tom Arnold has, like, hey, like don't strain, like you're gonna blow out your O-ring. Like my favorite one though is when he's like strangling like Patty O'Brien, and then he puts his head in the water, and it's sounding like really gross. Let's say like wet diarrhea, and Tom Arnold is like. He like begs on the thing. He's like, it's like sound a little gross in there. Like, how about a courtesy flush? That's my favorite thing. And honestly, I think that in my head all the time when I'm in the bathroom and like someone is next to me and it's starting to smell really bad. I'm like, how about a courtesy flush, huh?
Awful.
No, it's a really funny scene.
It is.
And and then my other favorite line is he's like, who does number 2 work for? And Tom Arnold is like, that's right, buddy. You tell that turd who's boss.
It's so funny
So
because it's
funny.
like, again, it's like equating like, taking a shit to like giving birth or something like for men. Like, guys, get over it. Like, why is it this whole like relaxation production gonna talk people through it?
I think
Like,
that scene is
come on. But it's pretty funny. But I always think of that O-ring thing. And
too.
I'm always like, can't strain.
I really learned a lot from this scene. Courtesy flushing, O-ring, like don't blow out your O-ring. Is that possible? Oh my god, look it
Maybe
up. Just
it's
kidding.
a terrifying thing.
That's disgusting.
But for the courtesy flush thing, I think it's more about the like, was it like Chris Pratt like won an award or something, and his speech was like, "Here's the most important thing I've learned. Like, if you have to take a poop, just flush right away. As soon as you poop, smell's gone. As soon as you poop, smell's gone." So that's what I think of more as like a courtesy flush, but like whatever.
But if I don't know.
Yeah.
We can talk
Still.
about that
We
for
could talk
days.
about poop forever, honestly. Okay, so we got that. So then, last one, I put group therapy twice. I'm a dummy. And then the last scene I love is I like a lot of scenes. These aren't all the scenes I love, but these are the ones I wrote down. So you're stuck with them. But the Mustafa scene. So for Will Ferrell, so 97, he at this time was on SNL. Or just started.
Yeah, that
he
sounds right.
hadn't really been like a big we didn't know who the hell he was really when this movie happened. I just knew him as that like really tan guy in Austin Powers. So Mustafa is this like guy with a fez who is supposed to have been the scientist behind the cryogenically frozen thing. So Dr. Evil's thing is that like when he's mad at somebody, he presses a button and their chair ejects them backwards and they fall into this pit and they get torched basically and burned alive. So he does that to Mustafa because Mustafa didn't like foresee the animal like bio whatever.
What would happen to an animal?
Yeah.
When you
So
cryogenically
Mr.
froze it?
Bigglesworth, Dr. Evil's cat, has lost all of his fur. So he like puts Mustafa in the thing, and so Mustafa doesn't die right away like everybody else, and you just hear like Will Ferrell being like, "Oh, is anyone there? I'm very badly burned. If someone could please help me." And Dr. Evil keeps trying to like talk about like normal stuff, but they keep hearing him like talk, being like, "Help me, please." And then he sends people down there, and it's just like it keeps going, and they're like, he gets shot, and then he's like, "You shot me. You shot me right in the arm," and then they finally kill him for real. But I just that scene is just, it's great. It's a great little glimpse into the magnificent future that
the
Will
genius that
Ferrell
would be Will
would
Ferrell.
have. And in the second one, if you remember, he comes back because they go back in time, right? So there's a whole like other Mustafa scene where they like remember he like
The car
breaks
goes
his
over-
arm. Yeah, he's like
The car goes over
broken
the
bones.
cliff. My favorite part of that, and what makes like this like kind of level of comedy so genius to me, and I've talked about this before, just like the little things, like you add one more word in there and it like makes it like hilarious. It's when he's down there and he's like, I'm still alive, but I'm badly burned. Like he has to say very badly burned. And like for some reason that cracks me up. He's not just like burned. He's like, I'm badly burned.
And then Mike Myers like plays off of that
Yes.
by being like, Dr. Evil's on the phone. He's like, no, still alive. Yes, burned. Badly.
It's like, that is so, it makes it like 20 times funnier. And so if he just said, I'm burned down here, like that's not that funny.
Right.
Badly burned.
That's what writing's so
I
important.
know, and it just makes me appreciate this level of this kind of comedy. What I've always thought about Mike Myers stuff, it's just like just that like one little. I mean, it's like what makes him kind of like a comedy genius. I'm gonna say it. I think he's a comedy genius, guys. Okay, I have a couple more scenes. Are you done with scenes?
I'm done with scenes.
Okay, I'll rapid fire mine.
Okay.
Okay, Austin, like I said before, anytime Austin is naked, I think is like the funniest thing ever. And they have two kind of things, which like could be not funny for some people, I would say. I still find them like hilarious. So the two scenes that they kind of play on someone being naked and like stuff gets held in front of their naked parts that are either like similar to their body. So you're kind of doing like a game, being like, oh, how does this like match up? Or just like funny. So in the Austin Powers scene, he like gets up from the bed and Vanessa is like having a call with her mom and she's doing all this stuff to like hide like his penis from view. So there's one, she's like a magnifying glass and she's like turning it and he's doing like squats, naked squats. And he's doing all this like hilarious stuff naked too. She like eats a sausage and then he like yawns and when she bites the sausage, he goes, ah! Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really funny to me. I still crack up. And then they do the woman one with Vanessa at the end, which I don't think is as funny because it's like holding up melons for boobs and like pouring like cream out of her boobs.
Yeah.
But the penis one is funny.
And what makes Austin Powers' body like so funny too is the like they give him this like T-shaped chest hair thing, or like a heart. It's like a heart-shaped pattern that is just so thick, and it makes all those scenes like that.
Well, I mean, good for Mike Myers. I know that's such like a big part of his comedy, him being like naked and just being stupid, but like he's not like afraid of it. I mean, maybe he is, but he's just brave about it. And he's just like such a funny little body. It's just like so cute. Like it's not skinny, it's not fat. It's like, you know, whatever. It's like such a regular person body. And I love how he just like uses that for comedy purposes.
True.
Kills me. Okay, the backup car in the tunnel thing. So he's on this like, they're in the Dr. Evil, like whatever, evil lair. And he gets into one of these carts to escape. And it's like this long kind of space, narrow space. And he like tells Vanessa to go like get help, and then he's like, I'll get out of here, but the only way he can do it, he really should have backed up all the way, right? But he decides to do like a 3-point turn to turn around, and ends up like he like is doing pretty good for a while, and then he just gets to a point where he's like horizontal in the space, and he just keeps going back and forth, and he like really thinks he's gonna make it. It's hilarious. I just saw that as a meme like a couple weeks ago for something. It's still being used, guys. 1997.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that when I'm like making like a 10-point turn. I'm like, I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna get out. It's so good.
It's so awesome. It's like, yeah, it's really good. The fembots, I always think that's such a good scene. So like the second fembot scene where they're like gonna seduce Austin, right? So they're in those like kind of fun nighties with like the fur on the boobs and it's like sheer on the bottom and these like little underwear. It's cute. Anyway, so he gets kind of seduced at first, and then he's like, no, I've got to save the world. And they're like, you can't like we're seduced. What do they say? Like, you can't resist us. And he's like, au contraire, baby, you can't resist me. And then that amazing song plays, I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I touch myself. I don't know who sang that song, but what a good song.
Yeah.
I missed it. I didn't even know I missed it.
I have to say, the fembot casual lingerie look was like my dream aesthetic when I was little, and I envisioned a lip sync set to the Cardigans' Love Me, Love Me.
Yeah, that would be
wearing
great.
fembot.
Yeah. Fembot lingerie.
Or the like plastic, like the 90s was very much about that like plastic. Remember I had that like mini blue vinyl plastic backpack. It was just like all about vinyl and like plastic. Ugh, I loved it so much. But yeah, you know, it never happened. But maybe someday I'll do a lip sync.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, so he ends up like ripping off his shirt, and he's like ripped pants, and he's like a little underwear with like a little Union Jack flag on the back, and he does this like hilarious dance to that song, and like the fembots like flip out and their heads explode because it's like too much mojo for them. Oh my god, it's awesome, so funny. I love it so much. And then the Man Named Shh, which became like a big thing. Maybe cheesy now, but I still really enjoy that scene.
Which one?
A Man Named Shh.
Oh.
So he's like shushing. He's like, you like better not. He like shushes Scott, and then they do this whole thing, which I guess was improv, where every time Scott tries to speak, he goes shh, 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 and cuts him off, and then he starts like making up funny things about it. So he goes, let me tell you a story about a man named Shh.
And the like preemptive shh.
Yeah. I got a whole bag of shh with your name on it. I think that's pretty clever and funny. And them together, and again, talk about a big 90s person, Scott, played by Seth Green, is hilarious in that. I think their exchange is awesome. And then he gets even better when they have the mini-me, and then like there's that whole dynamic with Scott and mini-me and Dr. Evil. Oh man.
That's right, yeah.
Good
I mean,
stuff.
So moving to quotes we use in everyday life. So we've already said the ham sandwich one, which we use, whatever. The other one I have is that he has this henchman called Random Task, who is like a joke on Odd Job from James Bond. But Random Task, like whenever something random happens in my life, I'm always just like Random Task. I don't know. It's just something I say. But so crazy trivia about this guy that played Random Task. Sweeney, you found out this.
Well, if this is true, I don't know. So apparently that guy was committed, tortured somebody in 1990, it said. And it wasn't till 2008 that his DNA was connected and he was charged with that crime, and then he went to jail. And then I guess he killed his cellmate in prison or someone else in prison. So now he got like 27 more years or something. So he's going to be in there for a long time.
And
so,
then
buddy,
if you look at him, he's like pretty scary.
Yeah.
And to think that like that was a real, he's actually a psychopath.
and then part of the IMDb trivia was like the victim of the torture crime, like unknowingly, like had this movie like in her possession like the entire time, like. Because I guess he wasn't found out.
She didn't know that it was him?
I guess not. Like, maybe she just didn't know
Wow.
who
Can
it
you
was.
imagine if you're like
Kidnapped her or
She
something.
like burn it after that?
I know.
That's insane.
What if she was... No, I mean, this is not what happened, but, like, what if she, like, watched Austin Powers and was like, oh, my God, like, that's the guy.
And then it took 10 years.
No,
I
but,
don't
like,
know.
that didn't happen.
Oh.
But, like, what if that was how he got found out?
Stop creating lies again.
I mean, let's be real. If, like, you commit a crime and you're on the lam, like, don't be in a movie.
Yeah. I know.
Hello?
What? Dummy. He needed money. They needed like some strong guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. So the other line I wrote down, which is not in this movie, and I'm very disappointed now, but it's when Mini Me gets like stuck on the rafters in the second one, and Austin Powers is like, "Get the stick." Like, whenever there's something like far, like high up, and I can't reach it, especially when I'm at the grocery store or something. Like I was trying for like 8 years to get this box of waffles out of the freezer at Stop and Shop, and I try like using a box of peas. I tried everything. Nothing would work. And on my head, I just kept being like, "Somebody get the stick!
Get the stick!"
Nobody got me the stick. No one got me the stick.
Oh
But that's a good scene from the second one. Woo!
Okay.
But yeah, those are all the lines I had, and I meant to put more, but there's just everything's just so funny.
I'm sure you have some of the same ones I have. Once I say these, you'll agree. Okay, so my first fun line that I always say is that he meets Scott for the first time. He's trying to convince him that he's like cool and stuff like that, even though like Scott hasn't seen him his whole life and he's been cryogenically frozen for 30 years. Dr. Evil. So he's like, "I'm hip, I'm cool." Like I hear those words, the scene just like flashes into my mind. And then he starts doing the Macarena, and he does the sound that he makes to do it, to sing along with it is like the greatest thing ever. He's like, and he does it like out of whack. He like doesn't do it in the right order, and he's like,
For the Macarena part. I wonder if that's because they like couldn't, because they didn't want to pay royalties for the
oh
song.
my God, it's so funny. And again, like if you remember how freaking big the Macarena was in the 90s and how that was like insanity. I mean, that was our electric slide. Let's be real. The nutshell. Okay, I just said this quote.
I
the
do
other
love
day.
this
It's the best. I mean, really, there's so many times in your life where like a nutshell will come into conversation.
Or if somebody says the saying, which is that's you in a nutshell.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, it's more of that.
Yeah. He's just like looking for chestnuts, and she's like,
I was like, well, it is the Christmas season. There must be lots of talk of nutshells. So she goes, "That's you. That's me in a. That's you in a nutshell." Yeah. So that's what she said to him, and he's like, "No, this is me in a nutshell." And he's like, "Ah, help! I'm in a nutshell. Who put me in this bloody nutshell?" But my favorite line is the last part. For some reason, it kills me. "What kind of shell has a nut like this? This is crazy."
What kind of nut has a shell like this, right? You said it the other way.
No, I think it's this way. 'Cause I always thought it was weird.
Why would a shell have a nut?
That's why it's funny.
In the shell. What kind of nut would have a shell like this?
He's the nut.
Oh.
So he's being the nut, and he's like, "What kind of a shell has a nut like this?"
Has this kind of
I
nut?
think it's that.
Okay, yeah.
And then he goes,
That makes
"This is crazy."
Yeah,
For some
that's
reason,
another.
that part,
Yeah,
like,
that's a really good
kills
scene.
me.
Good scene.
So funny. Okay, this is really random, but one of my favorite things that Austin does during the whole movie is that he is like, I don't know, he's a photographer sort of like on the side, so he's always like trying to take pictures of pretty girls
what
and
is
stuff.
that?
I don't even know what that is. But when he's doing like the model shot like thing, he's like pretending to be a photographer. He's like, yes. I mean, also kind of like a sex thing, right? But my favorite is when he's like doing that. He's this tiny little camera that he uses to spy with when he goes to a lot of Vagina's apartment, and he's like looking through the Project Vulcan, like the whole plan for it, and he's a little camera. He's like, yes, and he goes, no. And he just starts saying like no to it, like it's like oh my God, it cracks me up. I don't know why. It's the best.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And then my last one is the Kearney's one, and so they go to like the headquarters and they meet Basil, and why does he start talking about? Oh, there's only two things like I'm afraid of. and what's the first one?
Nuclear war.
Yeah, nuclear
weapons.
or something. And carnies. And he's like, circus folk, nomads, smells like cabbage. And then he's like, small hats.
That always, like, carnies was such a thing in the
Around-
90s, too.
yeah.
Like, it was just, I don't know if there were more carnivals or, like, whatever. But I remember boys in my class, like, before this movie came out, or maybe after, I don't know, would always be like, carnies, ew. And, like, I never knew what that meant. And I was like, what's wrong with carnies? / what is a carny? So I never really got that. But
Now,
yeah.
whenever I go to carnivals, I can't
Do you go to carnivals
not
that
look
often?
at their hands.
It's just guys trying to make a living, you know?
I mean, I think that to talk about historically, I think that's supposed to be like kind of a racist thing because it's like gypsies, carnies, romies, that whole like kind of collection of people who were nomads and kind of like went around, and I think they were cabbage. I think they did eat a lot of that kind of food.
guys,
They're like Hungarian and Romanian stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Totally
wicked
racist.
racist guys, carnies. Don't say that to people.
Speaking of racism, I was super confused. Still am today, and I had to ask Sweetie. But a lot of vagina confused the shit out of me when I was little, because I know that number 2 introduces her as his Italian secretary, but she's super Asian in like her aesthetic. Like when she goes to her penthouse, she's like a cultural appropriation all over the place, and she says things. She's like in Asia, like women, or in Japan, like men come first or something. And I was just like, why would she say that if like she wasn't Japanese? So I was like, sweetie, is she supposed to be Asian? And like I thought they were doing like a whitewashing thing where they were like, she's actually
Well,
an
they call her
Asian
the Italian bird.
character, right? And then later they say that, so now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But when I was little, I totally thought they were trying to pass her off as like
I
some
think
Asian
that was just
woman.
like the theme to her whole room
Why?
and apartment. I don't know. They really like followed that through though, because it was
know.
like tons of jokes. How she looked like the kimono, the chopsticks in her hair.
He does like a
the
haiku,
sake,
yeah.
the haiku.
I know. That's why I was so
Weird.
confused.
That is weird.
Super sweetie confusion. Very weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. That's
Okay,
weird, man.
here's something I was always confused about. Seriously, how does the couch trick work?
You've never done that?
No.
Oh, it's just the way you like move your legs.
How
You
does
have
he do it so
you have to take
smoothly?
like really big steps, but
Okay.
like not make your. It's just like isolating your bottom half, and like,
He's really good at
yeah,
that.
it's
I'll
amazing.
say like it's. I
canoe
I
one
was
is-
like he must have like something under there. He
No,
must
my
have,
friends and I used to do that.
It's so funny.
It's funny,
The
yeah.
elevator one where he like doesn't move his whole top of his
I
body.
know. It takes
But
skill.
with
It's
bending
skill.
your legs.
Yeah.
He must have some excellent core muscles. That Mike Myers.
Right. Yeah.
You wouldn't know it. I mean, I've seen him naked. I've seen him naked. Okay. What about Vanessa's costume and hair changes? That gets crazy at the
Yeah,
end.
she's really. I do applaud her use of yellow. She has like a couple yellow. It's funny when she opens her suitcase, all of her clothes are like individually packed in plastic bags, and one of them is like yellow dress, which she does end up wearing, and you're like, hey, it's the yellow dress.
Oh my god.
But I like, so they have her very like buttoned up and like suity and then whatever, but then she kind of has these like let loose moments. So my favorite one is when she goes and gets help when they're in the underground lair, and she comes rocking this like all black leather kind of jumpsuit that her mom kind of was rocking in the beginning. But I just like love the way that looks. However,
And they give her. Oh, sorry.
yeah. So before that, when her and I almost said Dr. Powers again. When her and Austin get abducted and like put into the quasi futuristic garb, Sweetie like joked like, "Oh wow, they gave her a full makeover and like put her in this outfit," which is so true. She has like this like cool makeup on. They put her hair in this like cool like retro like futuristic look. Crazy. But then when she shows up in this like black cat suit, she all of a sudden has these crazy hair extensions and has this like whole mod look about her. Wouldn't she have time to do that? She's like, okay, I'm gonna go get help, and then is like, get me my jumpsuit, give me my extensions.
Oh, totally. Okay, so 2 things about that too. So whenever I see a scene like that in the futuristic one where they basically like give them new clothes, like they abduct them. And then, like, in my very reasonable mind, I'm always, like, making up, like, a scene on the side, which is, like, them being
totally.
held down and, like, redressed and being, like, here. Like, was she in, like, a salon chair? And someone was like, okay, we're going to put you up in this updo so we can kill you. Like, I was just, I don't know. It's hilarious to me. I know, like, you have to suspend belief and be like, whatever, but I can't do it. I just can't do it with outfit changes
It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's like, now you have to wear this frilly
Yes.
white dress.
No, or we've talked about this for Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
when
Princess
they're
Leia
like,
in the slave costume.
like,
how did they like set her down in the chair?
Here's a little
your,
bikini.
yeah.
We're gonna make this awesome braided like updo with like metal scrunchie. Like what?
So impractical.
I
so
know.
impractical.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and then the crazy like let's give the black cat suit. So apparently Mimi Rogers plays her mom, who was like a famous older actress. I forget like what she's famous for, but anyway, her and Elizabeth Hurley like love those cat suits so much they asked to keep them, and they did.
God.
Those are pretty hot. They
They're
will make
awesome.
anyone look
I love those.
very attractive.
Will they even like? If
Catwoman,
you're a little
hello?
bigger, I don't
No,
know. I feel like I wouldn't. I feel like I wouldn't look great.
Well, Elizabeth Hurley is like the skinniest little twig ever.
Right. Yeah, fuck her.
That bony little bitch, Melissa Robinson. That's my line whenever I think of really skinny people.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura, I guess. And then what else do I have here? We talked about the penis pump. So, God, that's like not a lot of confusion. I find it funny that also similar in Wayne's World that he is like a hot leading lady and like not a lot of like smooching happens, right? Do they smooch?
Well, wasn't she like grossed out by his teeth most of the time or something? I don't know. Maybe.
But
Mike
maybe he has
Myers
a thing. Something in his contract.
Maybe he has a thing
where he can't.
Or he just doesn't want
smooch.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was married.
Yeah, but you're an actor.
I know the actor.
The actor.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you just don't want to kiss. I don't know. Good point, though. Interesting.
Right.
Anything else?
And then I just have some historical tidbits.
I love history.
Well, not really, like to the movie.
Rats.
I guess you'd call that trivia. So Mike Myers wanted Jim Carrey to portray Dr. Evil.
Oh my god.
Kind of cool, huh? But he ran into scheduling conflicts with Liar
Have
Liar.
they ever been in a movie together? I feel like it'd be
Good
too
trivia question.
much.
Speaking
like it'd
of,
be too much.
way too much.
Craziness.
Way too much. Someone always needs to balance that guy out.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be Jim Carrey, which I feel like would have been an entire movie, and honestly, I don't think that's successful because like half the fun in this movie is that it's played by the same guy, kind of a thing. And anyway, so Mike Myers was like, okay, Jim can't do it, like I'm just gonna have to do it. So he did, ended up making this brilliant character, I guess, based on the Dr. Evil character is based on a James Bond villain. I forget which one it is. It said, and I'm blanking. I don't know James Bond that well.
No?
Sorry. No, it wasn't. He had like a weird name.
Yeah. I know.
But his like kind of look was based on that. But then the voice he modeled after Lorne Michaels. Oh my god, but poor guy.
I always think that
SNL,
when
like,
people do impressions of
head-
Lorne Michaels, I'm like, why
showrunner.
are they doing Dr. Evil?
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Yeah,
to me,
that's
but now
Lorne
I get
Michaels.
it.
I know. Funny, but yeah, he's great.
Soup's funny.
Get away from me, you lazy-eyed psycho.
Why does he have like a giant scar down his eye?
Is that all
Oh,
good?
I think that's the James Bond character.
okay.
And now I'm like, oh wait, because Goldmember is based on Goldfinger,
Right.
But let's see, based on Ernst Stavro Blofeld, as played by Donald Pleasance, your favorite from Halloween.
Oh my god.
And you only live twice.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. Makes sense.
Wait, look up that guy.
Oh, okay. La la la. Ernst.
Blofeld. Good name. Oh, totally.
Spitting image.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my god, he had a
Oh.
cat too? No, that's from. Isn't that from Austin Powers? Oh
What?
wait, okay, it's exactly like that.
God.
That's funny. Wow.
Weird.
Cool. Very funny.
Cool. Yeah, I gotta see those old James Bond. I've seen like a
know.
couple
I've
of
seen
the
them.
Sean Connery
They're just
runs,
so
and I like them. They're wacky.
upsetting.
Yeah.
No, they're kind of. I saw one where he's just like hitting a woman the whole time.
Oh
I was
my
like, they're just
God.
very misogynistic.
Yeah, they are.
I can't handle them.
They've come a long way with this.
But yeah, good times. All right, well, see, we hit the hour. You
Oh my
thought it was
God.
going to be a quickie, but nope.
Yeah, no, that was.
We're smart
that was a
after
good
all.
one. Yeah, that movie's awesome, guys. Definitely, it's so short. It's one of those. If it's on TV, I feel like you always watch
Yeah.
it. But I apparently I've always watched it on TV, but I completely forgot this part where Scott's like, "Oh, I think I'll stay in and watch like a titty movie on Skinamax," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's not in the TV
I
version.
did not remember that.
Also, shout out to Skinamax.
Skinamax, guys.
Somebody
Man.
asked me, were you the one? I used to love those.
Me too.
Softcore porn movies and it's like someone.
That's what I thought porn
someone
was.
at work asked me, but like, what is it? And they're like,
Oh
is
my
it
God.
like topless only? And I was like, no. I was like, it's like the most sanitary sex thing. It's like anti-penis and vagina porn.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see anything. It's very silly.
That's what I thought porn was.
I
And
know.
I was like, this is great.
And then you
then I
saw
saw real
real
porn. I was
porn.
like, no.
It's like when you watch the TV version of Showgirls and then you watch the real version and you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's crazy. But good times. So I guess that's it. Any other last thoughts? Cool. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, after Christmas. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you, as always, for listening to us. You can find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.